The brain research revealed that the more empathic people had a larger degree of pain activation in the pain systems when they saw the pain of other people. Okay, so now if you don't like conflict, part of the reason you don't like conflict is because if you see the person you're having conflict with in pain, you're going to mirror that pain. So that's uncomfortable. And I'm an agreeable person. So if I see someone in pain, it strikes me to the core. But I learned that if I deferred conflict, then it's like the cat with its tail being cut off an inch at a time. It's like we don't have the blowout. And so we're minimizing the pain in the present, but we're radically prolonging it across our iterated interactions. And so it's much better just to, if we can identify the problem and negotiate a compelling mutual solution, we don't have to have this problem anymore. Why do you encourage children to play competitive games? And you might say, well, they can develop the skills, it's fun, and they have the possibility of winning. But here's a better theory. It teaches them to lose, right? It teaches them that you do lose. It teaches them that you can lose. It teaches them that you can lose gracefully without a catastrophe, and then you can get up on your feet and you congratulate the winners and you can go on playing. Okay, so now imagine all of that's been taken away from you, right? Right up to the time you're 18. You've never failed in your bloody life. And so now you're terrified of it because you think that at the bottom of the failure pit is nothing but utter insanity. Well, now that's true for you because you're a complete novice at failing. How the hell are you going to take a risk? There's no difference between being a gracious loser and being resilient. They're the same thing. Most people who abuse their children were abused as children, but most people who are abused as children do not abuse their children. And the reason for that is because if you were abused, there's two lessons you can learn from that. One is identify with the abuser. The other is don't. Right, exactly. And if this didn't happen, every single family would be abusive to the core very rapidly. Yeah. What happens is the proclivity for violence is it dampens itself out as a consequence of intergenerational transmission. So the notion that privation is a pathway to criminality, that's not a well-founded formulation. One of the things I used to talk to my clinical clients about all the time when they were frightened of moving forward. It's like, okay, you're frightened of moving forward. You're frightened of putting your CV out to find a new job. Fair enough, man. You have a reason to stick with what you've got. But let's play this out. You're 30 and you're disappointed in your job and you're afraid to let go of what you already have. Let's just play a game for a moment. Now you're 40 and you're a little more bitter, or a lot more, because the job hasn't improved, and you're weaker because you haven't fought back for 10 years, and you're older and so you're less desirable. How do you like that for a future? You're going to sacrifice something. In fact, one of the things you might think about life, and this is worth thinking about, is you're going to sacrifice everything. That's coming one way or another. You owe God a death. In service of what? Have you ever read about people going berserk? Yeah. Well, it often happens to people who are in a very chaotic environment, who are being abused continually, and they hit their threshold, and it's something like a last-ditch do-or-die response, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, well, I've tried to retreat, that's not working, I'm cornered, I've got nothing to lose. It's a very dangerous position to put someone in. It became impossible for me to work in a university, and so I thought, fine, I'll go build my own university. Because I thought maybe there's something arrogant about this. When the university came after me, there was part of me that thought, you think I need you. It's like, I don't think so. I think you need me. And if you don't want me around anymore, we'll see who needs who. I did an interview with, what was her name? Helen Brown from GQ.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's got like 63 million views. She had 200 tricks. She was much more, normally when you go for an interview, people have at least enough, what would you say, graciousness to fake hospitability. Yeah. Well, there was none of that on display.
Wasn't there?
No. The room was an ice cube. I knew that the jig was up when I walked in. Her interview style is fundamentally lay every verbal trap you possibly can to snare the unwary, so they devastate their reputation to redound to your moral superiority. It's a brutal game, and I can play it because I was a clinician. And so it's a dangerous thing to play tricks on me, because